I'm on a journey with comedian Anuvab Pal. Together, we're pulling the wings off a couple of myths and exposing the hard truths of the British Empire in India.
I'm taking Al around the hotspots of Calcutta to see how Britain left its mark. So, Al, look out of your window. That's the Victoria Memorial.
Oh, right.
It was a giant memorial to Queen Victoria. It's like the empire is here, we're staying.
That's not been torn down, then?
It has not been torn down. I mean, locals don't see it as a seat of imperial power. They just see it as Calcutta's most important tourist site. And right in the middle of the Victoria Memorial, apart from a giant statue of Queen Victoria, is a statue of Robert Clive.
Well, now that's got to be more contentious, right?
Well, here's
For people who know who he is.
Yes.
Look, if you're called Clive of India, it's no surprise you're going to end up there, is it? Stands to reason. He's the man who single-handedly is responsible for the capture of his namesake, India, employing those typical British characteristics of fair play, British charm, free trade, and a large chunk of the British Navy. Clive of India was responsible for a seismic shift in what the East India Company was doing in India, moving it up a gear from being traders to rulers. After the Nawab of Bengal waged war in 1757, taking over Calcutta and the East India Company with it, Robert Clive led a revenge attack at the Battle of Plassey. The decisive victory led to company rule. Clive was made Governor-General, but his administration led to the death of millions. He arrived impoverished, yet pocketed 100 million in today's money. So, what's Anuvab's take on this man immortalised forever in marble?
So there are two Robert Clives built exactly the same way.
Right.
There's one that's sitting in the Victoria Memorial, kind of looking down on everything. And the second one is outside the Foreign Office.
Yes, in London.
Yeah. What's good about that? It's no hypocrisy. You're telling the world, this is kind of how it all began. How do we have the empire? This guy.
This guy. Here you go, India. Look out for bastards like this.
Yeah.
Keep them peeled.
It's like, you know, have you seen this guy? You know?
You know, everything these days has to be fair trade, doesn't it? Nuts, crisps, coffee, pork scratchings. But it's just a fad. Because as far as I can see, the British have always been a fair trade people. And if things don't look fair, well, then they do the very British thing of getting out a gun to level things up. It's amazing, isn't it, how reasonable people become at gunpoint. The East India Company ruled with an iron fist, its supremacy secured by its own private army. The officers were British, but the vast majority of the 250,000 company soldiers were Indian mercenaries known as sepoys. I'm taking Al to meet Century Dawn. It's time for an honest discussion about how using Indian soldiers backfired.
A lot of people think that empire meant white people shooting at Indian people.
Yeah.
But these were mercenary armies using it.
Yes, they're mercenary armies. This is the East India Company's army.
By this time, what's happening is that agriculture was being affected because there was a lot of exports outside only for indigo. Other things were not being done. So these people didn't have an option but to enroll for the army, which was a lucrative offer at that point of time.
And this uniform and status and security in being a soldier.
Oh, yes. That's got a different...
Great red uniform.
Yeah.
Can I just pick this?
And it's very heavy.
Christ, this is
It's
heavy metal.
No wonder you guys paid sepoys a lot of money.
The company were quick to combine Western military weapons with Indian martial traditions. But they made one fatal mistake when, in the mid-19th century, they introduced a new Enfield rifle cartridge with a very particular requirement. This gun is like symbolic of how the British have detached themselves from caring about the Indians or accommodating the Indians in their worldview.
Yes.
Because of how you load it. The problem is the cartridge is greased.
Why do they have to grease it?
Well, partly it's about keeping the cartridge watertight, preserving the gunpowder inside and stopping moisture getting into it. And you have to bite the cartridge, literally biting the bullet.
Right.
To tip it into the barrel.
Yeah.
But no one knows if it's beef grease or pork grease.
Just the only two meats that are sacrilegious to Hindus and Muslims.
Yeah, so you're going to offend everyone all of the time.
So you and I, should we bite it?
Yeah,
and see?
okay.
We're both sepoys. Oh, wow, look at that.
Out comes the gunpowder, like that. Looks...
I'm enjoying a bit of the pork and beef.
Well, I mean, so, yeah, exactly. But the problem is, you've offended everyone.
I have.
in the Indian Army.
In the famous Sepoy Mutiny of 1857, the Indian mercenaries finally rounded on their colonial masters for trying to force them to use animal fat to grease their bullets. The resulting carnage led to the deaths of some 6,000 British soldiers and 800,000 Indians.
Sepoys start going crazy.
If you use a British way of looking at it, if it's a rebellion, a mutiny, they put it down really violently, don't they?
Yes.
And so the reprisals are appalling.
So I think it's Napier, lovely guy. They reclaim Lucknow, Oud. And when they go to Delhi to catch the rebels, they shut the city gates.
Oh, yeah.
For everybody.
They killed loads of people.
This, the cartridge thing,
Kicked it off.
yeah. And if you take that out, maybe it didn't happen. Maybe it wouldn't have happened. I mean, I don't know.
To me, this is the best description of empire. Three of us having a civilized conversation about empire in front of 3 guns.
Completely.
Definitely by 1857, by the time soldiers are being given greased cartridges that offend their religious sensibilities, the British have really detached themselves from the business of trying to chime along with the Indians and are just interested in what they can get from them, what the money will buy. And the contempt that shows to your soldiers, the people doing your dirty work, I think really shows how wrong things had gone for the East India Company, and how, if you put profit first, you will end up alienating the people making the money for you.
Now that I've had time to think about it, I've come to realize that the real difficulty of being ruled by a foreign power is that ultimately you are a foreign power that has to service your home country. For example, if Britain ruled India today, would it really be in Britain's best interest to have India be an economic superpower competing with China? Maybe not, because they have other concerns about Britain. But if India has an Indian Prime Minister, it'll always be his concern to see if India can be an economic superpower. So, yes, of course, there's corruption. But being ruled by your own, there is a self-interest as well. And I think that's the really tricky part of empire.
The disaster of the Sepoy Mutiny marked the end of the East India Company and the start of direct imperial rule by the British Crown, otherwise known as the Raj.
The days of the Raj were great for Britain. We gave them all our posh people so they could go and play polo. And in return, they gave us things to improve our Saturday nights. Gin and tonic, Indian pale ale, and to soak it all up, chicken tikka masala and a biryani. Oh, along with yoga, chess, shampoo. You taking a mickey?
The British Raj began in 1858 and lasted 89 years, during which time the British sovereign, Queen Victoria, longed to visit India, but the sea journey was too long, so she never did. However, many of her well-heeled subjects made the voyage and lived like kings. These were the days of hunting tigers, racing, gambling, polo, and parties.
India basically became a British version of a Mughal dynasty. I want to give Al a taste of what life was like for the average Indian during those heydays of the Raj. I wanted to show you something. This is the old Victorian Calcutta rickshaw. Ruko. And this, in Victorian Calcutta, would have been your mode of transport.
A rickshaw?
Yeah, except you and I can't travel together.
No, of course not. You're a subject.
I'm a subject. Right. So him or I would have to pull you.
Well, should we do that, then?
Let's do that.
Well, you're
Wait,
getting on it.
1 second, what are you doing? I am the empire.
All right, get on.
You're the subject.
All right, get on.
Right. There's a difference between us.
No, I get
We're not
it.
the same anymore. You're
totally
gonna have to-
underlined.
Exactly. Just be careful. Exactly.
You had too much breakfast. OK.
Quickly, we gotta go in a hurry. Quickly. Let's not fuck around. Thank you. All right, that's it.
Excuse
me. Thank you.
Beep, beep.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Great.
Oh.
Now we need to get there on time.
Okay,
This is the Raj.
Yes, Sahib.
Exactly. I'll give you extra bakshish. Hurry up. What are you doing?
OK, I'm going as quickly as I can, Sahib.
Just remember, it's all for Queen and country.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Although already in charge, Queen Victoria was declared Empress of India in 1877 to link the monarchy with the empire further and bind India closer to Britain. In total, extreme poverty doubled under British rule, from 23% to more than 50%. At the same time, Britain made an estimated £36 trillion.
This is the Raj. I'm your boss. I'm not your friend.
All right. That's plenty.
Jesus, we haven't gotten anywhere.
I tell you what, I've only been doing this 5 minutes and I'm already alienated.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
All set to rebel and mutiny, I'll tell you that much.
Well, this is how it works.
Oh, God, dear. I'm glad you're just a little fella, though.
Well, I'm a little fat fella, but yeah.
Can you ask him the question about the British Empire?
आप सोचते ही नहीं है ये सब चीजों के बारे में. I'm asking if he thinks about these things.
अंग्रेज के बारे में जो बात हम नहीं जानता है वो बात हम कैसे आपको बता मैं कहाँ था नहीं था हम तो उस टाइम में था नहीं.
He's like, I wasn't around. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about the English, whether they were good or bad. Why don't you go ask someone who was there around that time?
That is a bracing answer for all historians. Who cares? Shut up about it.
He's like, just wants to ride his rickshaw. And he's like, we should stop talking about the empire.
Amazing.
Great answer. No, I figured his perspective would be the most important, right?
Yeah, well, of course.
He's got the least agency with the most agency because it's his job we're commenting on.